Hey everyone, so my birthday is on August 13th and I wanted to do a bomb ass hairstyle so I could look bomb on my birthday. Even though I really can't do shit. But I'm turning 21, so I have to do something drastic, something I've never done before, something completely out of my comfort zone. So of course I had to go to none other than Arrogant TAE for this year's birthday hair inspo. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how I was able to recreate this reverse ombre hairstyle that Arrogant TAE did on Miss Heather-Rose. If you want to know how I achieved this look from the layers all the way to the color, then keep watching. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing y'all how I was able to get this reverse ombre hair, along with how I achieved the style, the layers, the curls, everything like that. So this is a 26-inch 613 blonde wig, and we're going to get started first with cutting. You want to cut your hair first before you do any coloring because you don't want to waste any color. So I'm starting by parting this hair in the middle and then making sure it's perfectly detangled, and I'm going to map out a triangle in the front. So as you can see, I have my triangle, and this is where I'm going to start with my layers. I'm going to make this first layer about right below my chin, and I'm going to be cutting in a downward motion. It's okay if you cut it too long at first. It's better to do too long than too short. So I just keep cutting until it's the right length, and then I'm going to pull it back towards the back of my head and cut in the opposite direction. These two pieces are going to be my guideline for the rest of my layers. So I'm just going to slowly part, keeping that triangle section there. I'm slowly going to add hair into my first pieces until my hair is layered to my desire. So you just keep adding hair and cutting in downward motions, and this is just how you're going to create your layers. It's super simple and easy, really. You just want to make sure you have a good pair of scissors. You want to make sure you're using hair cutting scissors, and you want to make sure you're taking your time. I prefer to do smaller sections so that way I get a better flow. You don't want to do too big of sections, especially if you are a beginner. And as you can see, I am opening and closing my scissors, and I'm not closing or opening them all the way, but I'm just rocking them back and forth to kind of fray the hair so that way the ends aren't blunt, they just naturally flow together, and this is gonna make your curls look so freaking good. So now we're going to go on to toning. I'm using the Wella Color Charm Toner in T18. I will say this toner was a little bit too light, so if you want to get a more accurate color to the inspo pick, I would say go with T35 instead. It's a little bit darker and a little bit more ashier. T18 is a little bit more icy. So you just want to apply this section by section. You want to make sure you get every piece of hair. Make sure you get every piece of hair, get the roots, get the nape, every piece of hair. 3 bottles was like the perfect amount. I was scraping my bowl at the end. So if your hair is any longer or thicker than 180 density, then I recommend getting a 4th bottle for sure. If you have shorter hair, if you have 16-inch, then you can probably go with like 2 bottles. And when mixing your toner, you want to make sure you do 1 part toner to 2 parts developer, and use a 20 volume developer. you can use the bottle that the toner comes in to measure out the developer. That's what I did. For some reason, I didn't capture that on camera though. But as you'll see in the speed through, I'm just basically slapping it on, making sure every strand of hair is coated, so that way we have a really nice, cool toned blonde. The purpose of toner is just to remove the yellowness from the 6 to 13 hair. Some toners are darker than others. This one happens to be a really, really light toner, so it gave me more of a cool gray icy color. So if you want something a little bit more warm and sandy, I would say go with T35. I would also like to note that this toner is permanent, so you don't have to worry about retoning your hair. It's just a one-time go. And once you're done toning and getting every strand of hair, you want to let it process for 25 to 30 minutes. This process took me really, really long, so I really didn't have to go that long. But if you're able to get your toner onto your hair fairly quickly, then 25 to 30 minutes is the perfect amount of time. I'm also going to be going in with some shampoo in a second just to make sure I'm removing all of that toner and getting all of those purple hues out that you can see, because that is like the toner still sitting on the hair. You want to make sure that I don't have any purple hair. And I'm just making sure to use a color safe shampoo so that way it kind of works well with the hair. So then I let the hair dry, and now I'm going in to do my reverse ombre. Y'all, this was like the scariest thing ever for me. I'm using the jet black hair dye from JAIDOR 121. This is a semi-permanent dye, so it does fade, and you do have to bank on reapplying this if you decide to go with this particular color. So I did this process actually twice. I only captured the first time though, but I'm basically just taking the black dye and putting it on the ends, and I'm using my stand that my mannequin head is on as a guideline where that big knob is. So that's where I stop applying the black dye, but then I take the hair in between my two fingers and feather it up. And I'm just going to wrap it in some foil so that way I don't get any blonde pieces black that I don't want black, obviously. So that's basically what I did this go round, but I found that after I washed it out, it was kind of blunt, and it didn't really fade well, and it just looked like black to blonde. So the second time around, I actually teased the hair, which is basically back combing the hair, where you take little pieces of hair or little sections of hair, you back comb them with a rat tail comb, and your hair will literally be a puff ball at the root, and whatever hair is left straight at the bottom is the hair that you color. So I kind of do recommend doing the two methods, doing 2 rounds of this, because the blend that I got was just so freaking good after doing these 2 phases. And I actually did the second round on my head. I actually put the wig on my head and did the teasing and coloring on my head. I still did have a guideline where I stopped applying the color, and then I still pushed the color up with my fingers as well. But teasing it just helps you get such a seamless blend, and I highly recommend using that method. As you can see right here, I'm kind of weaving out some pieces, and I'm just going to be applying the color at different levels with those pieces, so that way you just have some variety. It's not all just, you know, a straight line across. And then after I finish doing that, I'm going to let it process for 20 minutes. Both times I let it process for 20 minutes. And I just rinse the dye out. And I rinse it with cold water until it runs clear. The first time I rinsed it out, it had no color run, which was so crazy to me. I had never ever had that happen to me before, where literally no color ran. But yeah. So after that, I'm actually going to be toning the knots of my frontal. Because this is a 613 wig, these knots are 613. So normally when you bleach knots, you're taking them from black to like a brown. So I have to reverse it and take it from blonde to brown, so that way it kind of lays on my skin better, and that way it doesn't just look like blonde scalp. It looks a little bit more seamless when you apply it. So I'm using this Wella permanent hair color in the shade 7NN, and I'm putting that on there and then letting that process for 5 minutes. And then after I wash it and I apply it, this is actually a few days later, I'm gonna style it. So I start by detangling the hair, and this is just a super simple way to style. I'm just using a regular old curling iron that has a clamp. It's so cheap, it's like 20 bucks. It was a Revlon one, and it works pretty well. And as you can see here, my color is just faded so good. I'm so proud. So I start by sectioning off the top section of my hair, and I'm going to start working on the bottom. First, I'm going to apply some heat protectant. This is the Silk Elements heat protectant, one of my favorites. And then I just make sure to brush that through. As you can see, these ends are like dead. So I haven't been using heat protectant on this hair, which is kind of dumb, being that it's so overly processed. But yeah, I put some heat protectant, and then I'm going to go in with my curling iron and just start curling. And I want to make sure the curls that are curled, I want to make sure that the curls are going away from my face. After the curl is done, I just spray it with a little bit of hairspray. This is the Bedhead hairspray, and it's really good. So as you can see on this piece here, I go over the hair first to kind of like quote unquote straighten it out, and then I go in to curl it. And as you can see, the hair is wrapping towards the back of the barrel, which means this is gonna be a curl that's facing away from my face. Okay, so to do the curls on the other side of my head, I'm going to start by flipping the curling iron upside down and then running the hair through it and curling it towards the back of my head, which will have the curls going towards the back of my head and away from my face. And I just repeat this process. I'm going to take the top section down and do the same exact thing, but I'm going to section out my front two pieces because I'm going to end up curling those under, so that way when they flip back, they flow nicely. Then at first I curled these going towards the back, but I realized I needed to curl them going towards my forehead. So curl them downwards, and then they'll flip back once you brush it out, if that makes sense. You'll see me correct it. Like this, curl it towards the back, just the same way as you curled the rest of your hair. And then I'm going to spray some sheen spray, which was so unnecessary. I didn't like how it made the hair feel, so I would skip this step. But then I go and start combing the curls out with my fingers. And then eventually I'm going to take a comb and do the same. But then after a little while, after the curls sit, I recommend taking a brush and taking sections and brushing through the hair lightly, and then directing the curls the way you want them to flow, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is how I achieved this hair, my birthday hair. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you want to see more hair videos, I will have some linked in my description box of me doing a couple of different hair transformations. I have a couple more inspired by the one and only Arrogant Tay, so you can go check those out. But yeah, without further ado, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Love you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye. Mwah.